Coach, 1-1 throughout the week last week. Just kind of talk about. You mentioned that you saw this kind of team kind of improve here over that 2-game stretch, obviously with minimal games under our belt. What are your kind of thoughts about last week as we head into this week? Going to Tarleton for the first time in program history.
Again, happy with the response on Saturday. After that game on Friday, it was a long night for our staff, and I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I didn't know if we'd go to the well once again and figure out a way to bounce back, because I think everybody in the room was pretty dejected after losing on Friday. Not that we didn't have a lot of respect for Utah Valley by any stretch of the imagination. Just we wanted to win. We expected to win on Friday, and we talked a lot about going into the series about we got to play better on Friday. It's been documented to the point where everybody, knows what's going on with us, that follows us with the Friday, Saturday situation. And we certainly addressed it a lot heading into the game, and just didn't get it done, period. Didn't get it done. And so at that point, it certainly creeps in your mind, like, is this depressed state, this negative feeling that we're all having going to carry over until Saturday? And at some point, and it starts with me, you've got to move on, whether, not accept it necessarily, but you have to move on and prepare for the next game. And it sounds easy to do, but when you have all these emotions going through your brain and your body, and you've done it too many times already, in our opinion, it's hard. And so happy with the response. We played better. And I told them on Saturday morning, like, guys, we're getting better. We played better for longer stretches of the game against Utah Valley on Friday on both ends of the floor. But it's not enough. It's not November. It's not December. It's February. And teams are trying to play at their maximum output at this point in the season going forward. And we're no different than anybody else. And, we've got to get there very, very soon. Otherwise, it's going to be the same results.
Coach, what would you say maybe is the biggest difference, at least since WAC play started, between the Aggies that are losing on Friday and winning on Saturday? I guess if you just look at last weekend's box score, I know Utah Valley shot at a much lesser clip, at least on Saturday, and you guys, I assume, played better defensively.
Yeah, our Saturday decisions, our Saturday attention to detail have been better. Certainly it's almost easier from that point when you got the film right here. Hey, this is what we were trying to do, and this is what we did. Why? And trust me when I tell you this isn't a pat on our staff's back or me, but we haven't changed much at all from Friday to Saturday. Like, we're mature enough and old enough and experienced enough to know if a change was required after watching the film, going, hey, that didn't work, and it happens all the time. We do it all the time. Every coach does it. But it wasn't a schematic issue. It was getting it into the game. It was execution of what we were trying to do. And it's not as if we didn't practice it a ton heading into the game, and we had all that week of preparation, and you have way less time from Friday night to Saturday night to tweak and change and practice it. It's not like we're practicing it. We're walking through it on the court, half speed, maybe on Saturday morning when we're preparing for Saturday night. But for whatever reason, they're better at it on Saturday, because they've got that experience of Friday. So it's frustrating. I don't know why. Again, I hate saying this, but it's true. It's basic, human nature. If I knew why, I'd fix it. But it's a weird phenomenon to me that we're not more detail oriented on Friday on both ends of the court. But it's got to change. It's got to change now. We've got 2 more rounds of this, and before WAC Vegas, and fortunately, we do have a couple more rounds to try to figure this out and just play better, regardless of the day. We've got to play better. We got to play more, like you said it, using your phrase, Aggie basketball of previous seasons. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer. Our offense is a work in progress. The way we play, and this isn't an excuse, this is reality. We run a lot of old school motion offense where it's sharing the ball and screening and cutting. And it's kind of an old school offense. It's not the only offense that we run, but it's the one we teach first. And most coaches, high school AAU, don't run that anymore. So walking in the door, they don't know how to screen, and when we were all growing up and playing, I mean, we all knew how to screen and read screens and run motion offense. And we're still running a lot of that. Even, in our sets, it requires to understand how to cut and move and screen and pair up with others and spacing. So when you don't have the summer and the fall and you have a lot of new players, it takes a long time to let the motion take a hold of you and understand it. So our offense is always a work in progress, and our offense always seems to get better as the season progresses. But because of the obvious, we don't have as much time to get to where we normally do. And that's hurt us offensively. And that's on me. I could have easily made a decision a while ago to change. I just felt like we would eventually get there. And it hasn't happened as quickly as I would like, but we still have time, and it's getting better, and they're understanding it better, and they're working with each other better. And a lot of the problem on offense is, guys will stand too much. Guys will not continue working together. And in offense, you've got to work. You can't stand and watch. You can't rely on individual skill level to bail each other out. And we're continuing to try to tinker with it and getting better. But that's one of the things I think that's hurt us offensively in this particular season.
Coach, you mentioned having 2 more goes at this on the schedule. Is there still a chance you guys can get that UTRGB series? Is that kind of slowed down the talks for that? Just what's the status on that?
There's a possibility. We've had good conversations with Rio Grande Valley about that possibility. Obviously, what they're going through takes priority over everything else. And I think we understand that. And they got the service tomorrow, and they got a lot on their plate. And I can't imagine, being a part of that program and having to, go through something like that in the middle of the season. So, it remains to be seen. I think both of us are very interested in trying to work something out. But there's only so many days left on the calendar, before you get to the end of the season. So we'll see if that can get to an agreement at some point.
Chris, now that you've faced GCU, you faced California Baptist, you went up to Seattle, you got Utah Valley, basically the other top teams in the WAC so far. I mean, yeah, there's been struggles Friday night, and then you win Saturday. Is that a good thing for your squad to be able to hit that against some of those better teams with all that you guys have been through this season going forward?
Yeah, I love the fact that right now, as it sits, we've had an opportunity to play everybody that will be in the conference tournament except for Rio Grande Valley. And any coach would tell you that, to watch film is one thing, but to get on the floor with them and I guess size them up a little bit, and it works both ways, and have a better feel of, who they are as individuals, and just the energy that they have or don't have, et cetera. And we talked about that as a staff, and that's going to be helpful, I think, when we get to Vegas. But it works, again, it works for both everybody. They have a feel for us and who we are and sizing us up, et cetera, et cetera. But that's the norm, right? It would be very odd to go to a conference tournament, within your conference and not have played someone, at least once, and then play them in the conference tournament. That would be a very odd feeling. That would be more like an NCAA postseason situation where you're unfamiliar with each other. And but right now, who knows how that will play out? That could happen for us or for someone else, heading into WAC Vegas.
Coach, what are you expecting out of this Tarleton State series?
Well, they better put their helmets on. They're the one of, if not the most hardest playing teams in the league. They are going to challenge you on every catch. If you can't you don't maintain some ball toughness about you when you're passing and catching and handling the basketball, they're going to expose you. They're going to fight you tooth and nail for everything on the floor, and they're not going to back down from anybody or anything. And they're just going to challenge you. You know, they're undersized, but they make up for it with their intensity, with their ball pressure, with their denial. And it's pretty amazing when you watch them, how much they get out in the passing lanes and deny you. And then when you start trying to hammer it and get it downhill against that kind of pressure, they converge on the ball and they swarm the basketball. And they're just hard to play against. You know, they're hard to play against. They normally don't beat themselves. So it's going to be a challenge for us. And you know, if we, like I said earlier, if they don't have the right mentality and they're not tough with the ball and they're not working to get open and they're not working together, they'll expose you. And they've done that quite a few times this year in different games and different segments of games. So it'll be a test for us to go on the road, and certainly, you know, it'll be somewhat of a hostile environment. They'll have fans, etc. And you know, we haven't had that for a few weeks.
Chris, you talked about the ball security. Evan Gilliard had 0 turnovers this weekend, plus Kalen and CJ Roberts gave you some really good minutes this weekend as well. Do you like the fact that you have an experienced guard that takes care of the basketball going up against a team that likes to pressure the guard line?
Yeah, I love having a low turnover rate every game. You know, we've always been pretty good. I wouldn't say great since we've been here at our turnover percentage. This year is probably one of our better years we've ever had. So, you know, that's one area of the game that we've been pretty good at consistently all year long. We haven't had a lot of games where we had a high turnover number or even a high percent number. And certainly it starts with the point guard, but you know, when you play a team like Tarleton, they're going to pressure you, whether you're a 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't care. I mean, if you're going to handle the ball or try to catch the ball, they're going to try to extend your catch. They're going to try to bother the ball. They're going to try to get you on the defense when you have the ball and not square up and see what's available. And you know, and that's something that we pride ourselves on from day one of fundamentals of passing and catching and of being tough with the basketball. So it'll get tested this week. I'm very curious to see how we can handle it against extreme pressure as opposed to a regular college basketball game. But Evan had a nice weekend. You know, he's playing well. He's defending better. You know, he's playing how we envision him playing. You know, he's heading in the right direction. And, you know, if he continues to do that, that's only going to help our basketball team, you know, and he only had 1 assist on Saturday, but hey, when you shoot 36%, there's not very many assists to be had. I mean, if you broke it down and watched how many assists he could have had if guys make shots, you know, then he has a stellar weekend with the ratio. But, you know, it's not like it's his fault. I mean, he was setting guys up, and that goes for the whole team. You know, you don't have a high assist total because you don't make a lot of shots. And, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that they moved the ball or they drew and kicked and they made the right decision. And then hopefully, you know, our shooting percentage will go the right direction. You know, that's a big issue we're having right now. We're just not shooting the ball very well, and it's a bunch of guys. So one of the things we're obviously going to try to get better at down the stretch, and not that, you know, we're not all year long, but is spending more time shooting the basketball, you know, and not just in practice, but you're not practicing quite as long heading into the last couple of weeks of the season. So hopefully they'll use that time to get in the gym, to get extra shots in and just get their stroke, get their confidence. We got some guys who aren't shooting with confidence right now, and we're going to do our best to help them. And that would alleviate a lot of pressure. You know, we won another basketball game Saturday, shooting 36% from the field. You know, and I love that. But, you know, when you shoot 50, just think how much better we'd be. And so that'll be a big goal of ours, and not just shooting the ball, but, you know, just being better offensively, just showing that, hey, here's when we're really good. Look at us move the ball. Look at us play inside out. Look at us working on offense, as opposed to, okay, now look at this. You know, we're standing and watching. You know, and it's just habits. It's just habits, and it's just trust amongst each other, to count on each other, and to know that, you know, if I give it up, I'm going to get it back, and to know that a quick ball reversal is going to put us in good position. So I think they're figuring it out, and hopefully it's going to get better and better.
Coach, obviously, without giving too much away, how do you combat a team like Tarleton State that kind of, at least defensively, seems like they play with their hair on fire? I imagine try and get them out of position and make a lot of easy buckets, but how do you combat, I guess, a team that plays like that style?
I think first and foremost, you got to score in transition. You know, you got to score before their defense is set, because if you just check the ball 5 versus 5, when their defense is set and they got their matchups, they're hard. They're hard to score against. They're hard to penetrate. They're hard to get quality shots, because they're just constantly have you on your heels. They're bothering you all the time. They're very pesky that way. So you got to score before they get set. You got to get them in advantage situations, which means, you know, clean the glass and trying to score off your defense some. And then in the half court, you know, you got to, first of all, you just got to be able to pass and catch the ball. You know, if you can catch it in your spots that you're used to catching it in, and you're comfortable catching it in them, and if it's a set play, you start with the first 2 catches in the right spots, then usually you can get, you know, a good look. But if they start the possession where you're on your heels, or you're 5 feet from where you normally catch the ball, it screws up the timing of what you're trying to do offensively. So really working to get open, and really working for our first couple catches in offense, I think will help us if we're able to do that.
Anything else for Coach this morning, guys? Okay, perfect. Hearing
All right, guys, have a good week.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach. Charlie.